Well, guys, I've said this a few times. It's Jamie J.C. West here that it's been a long road getting to this review. And it really has, but it's no fault to the mod. It's more my fault for being clumsy. So what we're going to talk about today is the final thoughts, impressions. We're going to do a breakdown, some maintenance, basically generally everything that I can squeeze in a video about what has become my absolute favorite hybrid on the market, the iHybrid from iHybrid mods and 310vapors.com. So here we go. So, this video is going to be a little bit longer than my usual videos, and I'm going to do a little indexing down at the bottom. It's been a long road getting here, and no fault to the mod. I'm just a clumsy guy. I have one time it flew across the room and I shattered a tank, and another time I knocked it off the table last week when I was doing my up close. And so, I don't know, I just didn't want to do the full review of an iHybrid with a sidewinder tank on it. I thought that would be a little crazy. So I got some new tanks in today, so now we can go on and get it finished. I've decided I'm just going to scrap everything I've recorded up to now. I'm just going to move forward with, I don't know, starting fresh. So we'll have a vape on this, and we're going to go up close. That's PG juice. Not VG. Red Dragon, absolute favorite. So let's go up close, then we'll come back with our final thoughts and impressions. Well, first I want to show my my iHybrid collection in its entirety. As I said, I only actually have one atomizer, and I ended up doing a trade with Faceless for some of his blemished tubes. And so here's kind of the progression of the iHybrid. First it started with, and this is actually the gunmetal tube, even though it's not the first, but this is kind of the standard now. It started out with just a brushed aluminum or semi-polished aluminum tube. So we've got, starting now, I guess the standard is going to be the gunmetal. Then there was the Fluid, which has got the kind of the Mad Murdoch with the gas mask. I saw a video he did with his new juice, Agent Orange, the other night, and he was... I get why they call that guy Mad Murdoch, so I can see him wearing a gas mask, so that's a pretty good, definitely a good tribute to Murdoch. So then he came out with a Spider LE, and I've got the 650 and the 350 tube and the tank protector on it. The engravings are very, very deep. They're really rich. I don't think you have to worry about them messing up. They're really good and solid. And then the next progression in the iHybrid was the Dragon series, of which I've got a 350 in the red and the blue. The red being my absolute favorite. And I've got the tank rings for the red and blue iHybrid Dragon. So then we moved over to the Illuminati, and it's got three hands and the all-seeing eye. I think it's kind of a nod to like a secret society handshake. And it's a gold tube, and it's a really good, rich-looking tube. So so that's my whole collection up close. And so now we're going to go to putting one together, and all right, move on to maintenance. All right, so over time, I guess you're going to want to clean your switch. It's pretty easy to do. It's not a lot of steps. Mine actually is pretty well a new switch, but I wanted this to be in this review just for people who down the road want to look back and see how to maintain a switch. Generally, you could do this with a Brillo pad. You could do this with an emery cloth. Anything really fine. You could even do this with isopropyl alcohol or denatured alcohol. And what you would do is you would just kind of clean inside the switch and around, and just clean it really good with that denatured alcohol or isopropyl alcohol. And then the next thing, cleaning your contacts. Now what I do, again, I said you could do this with an emery cloth or a Brillo pad. I just use like some 2000 grit sandpaper. And what you'd want to do is you just kind of want to knock any buildup that's on the spring off. Get it good and shiny where it's making contact. Flip it over to the other side. And that is done. You would put that spring over this post, which is the very bottom of your switch. Then you would take this, you could, take some denatured alcohol or isopropyl alcohol and clean up in there really, really well. And that sits over this. Then you got another spring. Now the iHybrid switch has 2 springs that have kind of a push-pull action. And I think the purpose of that is just to allow it to stand even if it's not locked. And not fire, and stand solid without having to lock the switch. So same thing on this, you just kind of give it a little, little bit on this. Flip it over a little bit on the other side. And that switch goes, or that spring goes right there on the switch. So now that you've got that spring on, you would take your piece of Delrin, you would put it right here. Before I do that, I would clean my screw. So to clean my screw, again, something very, very fine. And you just want to not, any buildup is fine. This isn't a lot of pressure. You're not wanting to sand down the screw. You're just basically kind of polishing it. And 2000 grit sandpaper, it just adds a little bit of polish and gets any buildup that's on it. So you take your piece of Delrin, you kind of push it down, you get your screw in, and you screw her down. Now, when I first got my switch, I didn't understand this. I couldn't figure out, like, how does this work? Is it put together backwards or something? Because I could pull it, but it didn't make sense on how this works. So it was only until I actually put it together, which is what I do now, my favorite setup, that I put the tube on there. When I put the tube on there, I still couldn't figure it out. So then I put the battery on. Went ahead and put the atomizer on. And something very interesting started to happen. Started to notice that as I screwed it in, the switch started to come out. And so what I quickly figured out is what that means is that piece of Delrin, it allows you to use different size batteries. And that keeps it from wobbling around, you see. When you wobble, 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 there's nothing shaking around. So it's really, really solid in there. The battery doesn't move around. And that's what that piece of Delrin does is it allows you to basically put different size batteries in there. Like there's a difference in a nipple top AWI-MR 18650 red and the blue and the Panasonic battery and the MNKE battery. So they're all to some degree different sizes. Even these wonderful little 5-volt red batteries that work in there. So that was a pretty good innovation that I think Faceless did with that little piece of Delrin to keep a good solid in-place battery. Now you're going to have to forgive me for not taking the coil off and wrapping a new coil. Any experienced Genesis Vapor will know that after you've had a coil that you've used for a couple of weeks, that coil's good and seasoned, never gets hot. And so I'm not going to do a new coil, but she's going. No juice in there, so that those things are going to line up. So, whenever you want to put your tank on, now you've got the clear tank. I'm a clumsy fella. I can't use the clear ones because I don't use the tank protector. What I like to do is I go with the stainless steel boy here, and that keeps me from breaking the thing and being able to use my iHybrid without a tank protector and know that I'm not going to bust another tank because I broke 2 of them. It's not the fault of the mod, it's just the fact that I like to use it without it. So without it...
And he's clumsy.
I am clumsy. Without it, the stainless steel tank just allows me to know that I'm not going to be without my favorite device. So just like a lot of other mods, this top O-ring, it's designed to keep the tank from kind of flying off the top. Now, I like to use the Illuminati top cap on mine. And the reason that I like to use it is it's got iHybrid written on it in an ambergram. You can Wikipedia ambergram. I'll put the link actually in the description. It says iHybrid up vertically. When you flip it upside down, still says iHybrid. Really good touch on the Illuminati. So I love using the Illuminati top cap on the Dragon. Really good, decent size air hole. You put her together.
Nice tight fit.
Very nice tight fit. Does not come off. Holds it just about anyway. It just doesn't. It's not going to come off unless you just really try to get it to come off. Really good and solid tight drip tip. She's there. And so that's the up close for the iHybrid, the maintenance. I talked to Faceless on the best way to maintain the Addy. If you take your O-rings off, you can throw your tank, you can throw the entire Addy assembly just in the dishwasher if you want to. It's not going to hurt it in any way. You wouldn't want to do that with the aluminum sleeves. The recommendation for cleaning the aluminum sleeves is denatured alcohol. You can pick it up at Home Depot, Lowe's, pretty much any of those hardware stores, probably Harbor Freight, just any of those stores like that. So denatured alcohol on the tubes, and take the O-rings off and throw the whole top cap Addy, basically the whole top into the dishwasher. And so that's it for the up close and the maintenance. And then now we're off to the final thought. So yeah, the iHybrid, over the course of the last 2 weeks of using it, it has become my absolute favorite device. It's kind of funny. The first week, and a lot of you know my general style is I do a first impression, and then I try to use the device exclusively for a week to get a really good idea of how it performs. And so the first week that I was using the iHybrid, I got it on Saturday. I started using it on Sunday, I started using it on Saturday, did my first impression on Sunday, and got all the way to Friday, and it was literally the only thing that I used. Friday night, there was some this, that, and the other, and I had it sit in my lap, and I stood up, and it kind of went flying across the room. I wasn't paying attention. And I don't use it with a tank protector, and for me that's just an aesthetic thing. Tank protectors, they have their place. You won't shatter tanks if you use the tank protector, but I'm a stubborn guy. So I busted my tank, and I wasn't able to do the review there, and got another tank in, and I was in the middle of doing this final review for it, and I was doing my up close last week. And as I was doing the up close, I moved this Red Dragon tube, which by the way is my absolute favorite. I was moving this Red Dragon tube over next to it, set up on my Illuminati, and I just knocked it off the table, and oops, there goes another tank. So then that delayed us again. So I got some stainless steel tanks going to be here in about 30 minutes. From this day forward with me, because I don't use the tank sleeve, I will only use a stainless steel tank. And it's glass. So you're either going to need, if you're going to use it without the tank sleeve, which is the way I use it, I would highly recommend you hunt down some stainless steel tank for it, because glass is glass, and glass is going to break. And if you're especially clumsy like I am, when you get an iHybrid and you fall in love with it like I did, that first day that I didn't have my iHybrid, I was absolutely miserable. Everything, and you guys know what I've got. Everything I tried, I could not get the same vape. I just couldn't get the same vape. And so I ended up using a Sidewinder tank on the iHybrid just to get me through, because I wanted to vape the iHybrid. It's the only thing I wanted to vape. And I actually missed my iHybrid that day that I didn't have it. Couldn't replicate it. So, my personal opinion, final review, at the moment, and there's a lot of stuff coming out, so this could change. I'll always give an unbiased my opinion, and I try not to pull any punches, but I'll say that as it is set right now, there's nothing on the market that hits like the iHybrid. It is an absolute tank. I will tell you, when you get it in, if you get one, there's a little 10-minute learning curve even for an expert Genesis user, because first 3 coils I put on it, I popped them. They popped right off the bat. And it's because the iHybrid is just marginally less forgiving, because there's so much less voltage drop to the coil. I mean, we're talking about numbers less than, 0.2, 0.1, between 0.1 and 0.2 volts of drop from a freshly charged 4.2 volt battery. So when you're adding more current to the situation, you gotta oxidize a little better. You've got to wrap your coil a little better. And so after the first 3 coils, now I can wrap one in 5 minutes. The iHybrid made me a more proficient Genesis user because it delivers more current to the coil. So it forced me to be better at rolling a coil, oxidizing awake and all that good stuff. So now this is my favorite personal setup. I get up close and kind of show you what it looks like. Come on, focus, focus. Come on. Back up. Oh, there we go. Because I am so clumsy, I've put a stainless steel tank on it. That way, you know, no matter what I do, I'm not going to break it. The Red Dragon 18350 is my absolute favorite, and adding the stainless steel tank, it just lets me use it without any worries of breaking the tank. I know these tanks are going to come pretty readily available here pretty soon, so we'll have a vape on it, and this is just how I iHybrid. One more. You know, people keep asking me, why do I do this? It's kind of ironic. At a VaporCon, Jason from Clouds of Vapor, he called this listening to the dragon. Justin! I'm sorry, Justin, not Jason, my fault. He called this listening to the dragon. And it's very ironic that now my favorite mod or hybrid is a Red Dragon, and I listen to the dragon every time I take a drag off of it. The reason I do it is, I don't know, like I always want a great vape. Every vape I take, I want it to be great. And so when I do this, I can hear how the coil is firing. I can hear how the juice is you know, I guess coming off the atomizer. And so when I listen to it, I know that it's right. And then I take a vape, so. That's right. So that's just my style, that's what I do. And the Red Dragon, now they all pretty well perform the same. It's the Addy and the button that pretty well completes the circuit. You know, I only have one iHybrid. I've got a Hellraiser coming, and I'm going to get a flower tonight. I only have one iHybrid, and I did a trade with Faceless, where I got all the tubes from, so I changed my iHybrid's clothes. Of the ones that I have, and I've got all the LE tubes, the Red Dragon just is my favorite. So that's my vape. On to the next step. Personal opinion, there's nothing better out there. If you don't have an iHybrid, they're relatively easy to get. Faceless puts up a new LE every couple of weeks. And you know, every couple of weeks you can, over at 310 Vapors, you can pick up a standard. And it's right now the biggest recommendation I would give for a for a hybrid on the market. I love it, and I'm going to buy every LE, and I might review every LE. I'm going to review every one of them. Well, we just showed you every one we got to date. I plan on doing every other one of them. So thanks, Faceless. You did me a favor. I'm always searching for the greatest vape out there, and as it stands in a hybrid right now, this is it. JC West. New Vapor, ECF, Vape Pit, UK Vapors, just about everywhere else, Facebook. Please subscribe. See you again next time.